Inkstead, Minnesota Radio Network, continuing coverage of the American Farm Bureau National Virtual Convention. Stronger Together is the theme, and our guest on this part of this broadcast is Fran Miron on the state board. And I've seen Fran for a number of years and also participated this year with the virtual convention. Fran, one of the things that we were talking about earlier was this year especially, everything's free for people who want to take in the convention, and they still can go on to the Farm Bureau website, fb.org. Things are archived, sessions are archived, and it's made for a pretty good experience. I know they had over 7,000 registrations already, but it's been a really nice experience.
It has been, Jim, and good to see you on Zoom here today, even though we're not in San Diego. And I always look forward to, spending time at the FBF annual meetings with you and some of the other reporters. But yeah, I've received some calls from our county leaderships in the various counties that I represent, and they've been able to tap into the American Farm Bureau experience here at the convention, the virtual convention, and many of them would not have been with us in San Diego had we been going because of work commitments, because of costs associated with travel and those types of things. And so they were able to really tap in and make use of the information, network to some extent, watch some of the young farmer and rancher competitions and those types of things, which has proven to be a good experience for them.
I should mention too, in earlier broadcasts, we talked to Maddie Weniger, who was Minnesota's participant in the discussion meet, and also Lucas and Elise Shostrom, who represented Minnesota in the Excellence in Agriculture. Neither of them, unfortunately, advanced to the next round, but we know we're very proud of what they've done and what they provide. Fran, you sat in on one of the workshops or sessions about the Washington update, new administration. Quick overview, your thoughts of how that is and where we're going.
Yeah, it was really a good experience, and no one knows for certain, quite how the Biden administration and their policies, President-elect Biden's policies are going to impact farmers. But certainly there's been some concern about estate planning, estate taxes in general, Social Security, those kinds of things that we might be impacted. And certainly with the elections in Georgia and now, an even split in the Senate with Vice President-elect Harris being a voting member there. And the possibility of the Biden agenda then being able to move forward probably quicker than it otherwise would have with split government. So it was interesting to listen to some of the things that we might be watching for. It'll be interesting to see how aggressive Biden is now with really a control of both the House and the Senate on some of the policies that he proposed during his campaign. And we'll be watching on some of those things. It makes it difficult, for those of us, particularly, I think, in planning stages of transitioning farms and that type of thing, not knowing exactly what we can expect in future years. The Trump administration was very generous to us in some of the transition planning, some of the expansion of the limits on the amount that we could transfer in the way of access and those types of things. And it'll be interesting to see how much of that is pulled back by the Biden administration.
Well, I know Farm Bureau's standpoint is we get along with everybody, and you work with one administration, you work with the next, and you got to move on. So we'll cross our fingers that everything works well. But we're coming into a much more favorable appearing year for the farmers than it looked a year ago, correct?
Absolutely. Certainly the trade agreements that have been put in place, and really that we suffered so much under this past year, although, we really did receive some significant federal aid in the way of aid that because of market impacts of those trade agreements, which For many farmers, we've seen as much as 45% of our income come from aid sources like that, as opposed to the market. But the markets have come back. We did see a little bit of a peak in milk prices here a few months ago, and then they've dropped back some, but certainly much higher than they were back in March, when we had hit our low there. Corn and soybean prices seem to be continuing to rise, and that's going to provide some good opportunities for farmers to really show income from the marketplace. And that really is, I think, most farmers' goals is to make their profits or take their losses in the marketplace, and not necessarily through government program payments.
Fran, trying to remember, I'm going by memory now. You're up by Hugo, Minnesota, isn't it?
I am. So I'm just about 20 miles north of our capital, St. Paul.
All right. And dairy operation up there, correct?
We milk about 120 cows. I've got 2 of our 6 children that farm with my wife and I.
And if I remember right, you just got reelected to the board for another term.
I was reelected to the Washington County Board here in November. That's my 3rd term. So I just was sworn in this past Tuesday to a 3rd term on the Washington County Board of Commissioners.
All right. And still active on the state organization as well?
Still active on the Farm Bureau Board of Directors. I wasn't up for election this past year, but I've been involved with the Minnesota Farm Bureau since 2010. So about 10 years.
Fran Miron from Hugo, Minnesota, on the state board, Minnesota Farm Bureau Federation. Thanks for your time and your thoughts. Always fun talking to you. Wish we could have talked in San Diego, but who knows, maybe Atlanta next year.
Jim, always good to talk with you. Enjoy the work you do for agriculture. Thank you.
Fran Miron, who's with us, a member of the state board, Minnesota Farm Bureau, and that is your American Farm Bureau update. Jim Bartles reporting.